It has been a very challenging few days. This week has really drained both Kyle and I. He is actually napping right now. I have not felt great most of the day, but I'm sitting down making this video because we've got updates for you. First of all, I have had, as I predicted, the worst endometriosis flare that I've had in a long time. Like, doubled over in pain, unable to move yesterday. Today, I just have felt so incredibly nauseous and so much pain again, but not nearly as bad as yesterday. And then Kyle has just been a little more fatigued. I think he's been trying to do more and he's just wearing himself out. And so he's been napping a lot, and his aphasia is still very much apparent. He's very much struggling to find words still, but it's getting better. But we're keeping a really close eye on him. We did have Kyle's post-op appointment on telehealth with his surgeon this week, and his surgeon said, do keep a close eye on the fatigue, and if it gets progressively worse, we do need to go to the emergency room because there is potential that fluid could build up in that cavity in his brain. But he has none of the other signs that is what is happening, but we're keeping a close eye on it. That appointment also went so incredibly well. They were able to show us the scans, which we had seen in the hospital, but it's just so wild to see like where the mass was, and like it's gone. There's no tumor there, and it's so cool to see. He also gave Kyle like the all clear to do physical activities, which is great. He wants to like lift things and do things, and he hadn't been able to. So that feels really exciting. And then we were able to get the pathology back, which this is our update, which is exciting. We don't have the full pathology report back. The full like in-depth report will probably come back next week or the week after. But we do know what Kyle's tumor was, and it is a question that we've been asked often. And it was a astrocytoma. Let me rephrase that. It was a recurrent astrocytoma stage 4. And the interesting thing is, one, it was a stage 3 when it came back in 2016. So it is a further progression in that sense. But the really interesting thing is that the 2016 tumor had an IDH1 mutation. And so Kyle's been on an IDH mutation inhibitor for the past year and a half. And the tumor that was taken out of Kyle's head in September tested negative for an IDH mutation, but is now testing positive for this TP53 genetic mutation, which unfortunately there's not any treatments available for that specific mutation at this point in time. The surgeon did let us know that there are people doing studies and research to find treatments for the specific gene mutation, but we're not letting it get us down. Like, it's exciting that it was no longer this IDH mutation, but Kyle's integrative oncologist explained to us she kind of saw that coming because he had been on this mutation inhibitor, and tumors are really smart and that they will find new pathways. And so they no longer could use that IDH mutation pathway, so they found another pathway, and that's where this mutation probably came from. It'll be interesting to see what we learn when we get the full report back, the more in-depth genetic testing of this tumor, and it could paint a more clear, guided path for us, but it has given us more clarification of, we were uncertain if Kyle was going to stay on the Tipsovo, that IDH mutation inhibitor, if he'd go back on it after surgery, and this was very reaffirming that there's no real point of him being on it because he doesn't have this mutation anymore. So he doesn't have to go back on that medication, which is really great. And from our point of view right now, we are waiting for recommendations from our integrative oncologist for supplements to target this TP53, because there are no like conventional medications. We are definitely taking the more natural approach, and our overall guess is that this tumor that is still in his brain in the cerebellum, which is inoperable, is unable to get a biopsy because of the location, we're going to treat it under the assumption that it probably is also functioning on that same gene mutation of the TP53. So she's going to be recommending some supplements to us for that. And then we have also scheduled an appointment with an amazing integrative nutritionist, I believe she is. She's come recommended to us by an incredible friend who actually is the one that recommended us to Dr. Smith, who did Kyle's surgery. Her husband has a brain tumor as well and also has the TP53. So this is someone that they've been working with, and we're really excited to work with her and kind of guide Kyle's nutrition to also help him get into a place where that tumor in that cerebellum continues to shrink, because the last MRI showed that there was marginal shrinking, and hopefully also prevent that tumor in the left frontal lobe from recurring. It's exciting that it is very much still an astrocytoma, that Kyle's tumor did not progress to a glioblastoma. We feel beyond grateful for that. There was definitely fear in the back of my mind that that was a possibility, but it is not. The other exciting thing that I forgot, I don't know how, is that they do some sort of test, and I'm not going to get the languaging correct, but the rate at which Kyle's cells were, rapidly dividing, i.e. cancer, was only at 5%. And the surgeon explained to us that this is very low from what he normally sees, which is really encouraging. He's seen people who are up to 15%, and so this is a really encouraging piece of news for us and how we move forward, that the tumor wasn't growing maybe as fast as we thought it was. So it just is hearing that is really, really encouraging, and I feel so hopeful about that. And yeah, I think we're just trying to enjoy being home, moving slowly, and getting back into a routine and creating a new routine and whatever that looks like. And we're both just finding ourselves pretty wiped out this week, and that's okay. We are taking care of us. I went to the doctor this week, and it was interesting how terrified I was to just go to a primary care doctor. I hadn't seen one in a while, but everyone that I had seen in the last few years had dismissed me. So Kyle's experience gave me a lot of backbone to advocate for myself, to remind myself I can advocate for him. Why don't I advocate for myself? And I went to that appointment and said, I don't love coming to the doctor. I don't feel very confident in this experience because these are the experiences that I've had. I've been told nothing's wrong, and then find out that I actually do have endometriosis, that my appendix was necrotic, and I was told that that right side pain that I had was nothing for a very long time. And expressing that and advocating for myself and speaking my needs was so empowering. And she was like, I hear you, and I am on your team, and I am so grateful that you express that concern so that I can show up in the best way that I can for you. And I was able to get some labs drawn, and they all look great. So I'm feeling really encouraged that what I've been doing for myself is working, even though I hadn't been seeing the doctor, the conventional doctor here. I see a Chinese medicine doctor, and that has been very encouraging. So it's just been kind of a slow but exciting week, and just in terms of our health, getting answers, positive news, and then also just being reminded that we need to take things slowly. We're coming out of a deep hibernation, and you can't just shoot on out. It just doesn't work like that. I'm realizing that. I want to, but it's just not possible, and it's gonna drain us. So coming back to ourselves, taking care of ourselves, taking naps, reading books. I've been watching a show from my childhood, Sabrina the Teenage Witch. Feels very fitting for the fall spooky season, and just makes my little Rachel inside me so happy. So as I've been laying on the couch with little energy, that's what I've been doing. Kyle and I have also been listening to cozy like fall audiobook because he's not able to look at screens right now, so it's just been really nice. We'll eat dinner at the table and then we will sit, or while we're cleaning up after dinner, listen to a chapter or two from our audiobook, and it's just been really nourishing for the soul to have like this thing that connects us that isn't a screen. Yes, we're still engaging with something, but it also reminds me of my grandparents. They would always listen to books on tapes when they would go on road trips, and so it feels like an honoring of them, and it just makes my heart sing. So life has been slow and beautiful and painful and all the in between, and overall fairly good things are happening, and just so excited for what this week ahead is going to bring. Meeting with Kyle's new nutritionist, and also he's getting his stitches out, so there's just a lot of good things coming. So we're resting, preparing for another full week, but hopefully we're both feeling a lot better in our bodies and feel slightly more energized and just in a good place. But man, life is wild and beautiful, and even in these painful days, it's been filled with so much beauty.